Recording in progress.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, teacher.
Good evening, all of you. Last time, accidentally, we got disconnected when we were discussing this question, as I can remember. Am I correct? Oh, turn on the videos, all of you. Yes. We were doing this one, right? Oh, no response.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, I will, I think I discussed one part of it, but I will discuss the whole question now. That day it was thundering at the end. Today it was thundering in the afternoon, right? I had the grade 6 class earlier, so I had to delay 15 minutes because it was heavily thundering here. Right, yes, turn on the videos, all of you. Akitya, Hasandi, Sasen, the Tenupa, Yenuli, Pavani, Inuli, all of you, turn on the videos. Hari. So this talks about the water molecule, right? You are asked to find the number of molecules. Okay, Hasandi. Number of molecules, total number of atoms. Okay, Anuli. And the number of hydrogen atoms in 6 moles of water, H2O. Right? So, you know the concept of mole now. 1 mole means 6.022 into 10 to the power 23 number of basic units, right? That is a mole. 1 mole is 6.022 into 10 to the power 23 number of basic units. You have to keep it in mind. Okay, Sanuti, well done. You have got 96 for the first term test. Very good now. Grade 10, getting something above 90 is very good, right? It is a good achievement and you have to maintain that. The number of molecules, Hari. So, first part. So, I can say number of H2O molecule, number of H2O molecules in 1 mole, right? Number of water molecules in 1 mole, that is equal to 6.022 into 10 to the power 23. This much of water molecules are there in 1 mole, right? But here it says that there are 6 moles. Please turn on the videos except the ones who gave excuses. I think 3 of you got excuses. The others, please turn on the videos. Otherwise, I will have to contact the parents. Number of water molecules in 6 moles, right? So you have to say in 1 mole you find 6.022 into 10 to the power 23 number of molecules. Therefore, in 6 moles, that is very easy. Once you get the concepts, you don't need to write these as well if it is in the first paper, right? Okay, Anuli. Therefore, it is 6 into Avogadro constant. 6 into 2, that is 12. Then 6 into 6, that is 36. 36.132 into 10 to the power 23, right? Therefore, I write it as 3.6132. 3.6132 into 10 to the power 24. That is my answer. And mata aave kali 36.132 into 10 to the power 23 no. So, in the standard way I wrote it like this. When I say 3.6132, I have to multiply it by 10 in order to get the previous value, right? Then into 10 to the power 23. And I wrote it as 3.6132 into 10 to the power 24. Right? Harined, you have learned these for mathematics, no? Harined, if you have any problem, you have to ask. Akitya, Sasen, Pavani, Dasini, Manusha, Nirosha, Tenupa. Okay, Tavinsa, you are there. Did you watch last week's recording, Tavinsa?
Teacher, teacher.
Can't hear you properly. Hari. Then part 2. Since I had given this question last week, I hope you had done this. That's why I'm just discussing. Then from question number 3 onwards, I will give you some more time, right? The total number of atoms. Then hitan, think of a single water molecule, right? H2O. So number of atoms in a single water molecule. Number of atoms in one H2O molecule. Here how many atoms are there in a single water molecule? Yes?
3.
There are 3 atoms. 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. Therefore, there are 3 atoms. Right? Then you are asked the number of atoms in 6 moles of H2O. So, we have found that in 6 moles, this much of molecules are there. In 1 molecule, there are 3 atoms. Henang, we can say number of atoms in here the 3.6132 into 10 to the power 24 number of molecules, right? So you have to multiply this value by 3. 3.6132 into 10 to the power 24 multiplied by 3. That is 10.8396 into 10 to the power 24. Therefore, I write it as 1.0898396 into 10 to the power 25. Right? You will get something similar to this. In some of the MCQs, without getting the final answer, they keep the answer like this. මෙතන නම් මේ විදිහට answer එක තියෙන වෙලාවල් තියෙනවා. කොහොම හරි අර මේක calculate කරලා final answer එක ගන්නවට වඩා expect කරන්නේ the scientific concept behind. හරි, complete කරගන්න. Then I will move on to the third part. Shall we move on then? Shall we move on to the next part, the third part? The number of hydrogen atoms. දැන් හොයන්න පුළුවන් නේ ඔයාලට. The number of hydrogen atoms in one water molecule, how many hydrogen atoms are there?
2.
There are 2 hydrogen atoms. ඉතින් හරි ලේසිනේ. In one molecule, there are 2 hydrogen atoms. Therefore, you have to find the number of hydrogen atoms in this much. නේද? So, what do you have to multiply this value by 2? So, I will write it here. Part 1, anyway, part 3. Number of hydrogen atoms in one water molecule. That is 2. Right? Therefore, the number of hydrogen atoms in 3.6132 into 10 to the power 24 number of water molecules. හරි නේද? So that is equal to 3.6132 into 10 to the power 24 multiplied by 2. So 1.2264 into 10 to the power 24. හරි නේ? So I wrote this type of words and equations for you to get an idea, right? Since we are doing the second question yet. Then we'll move on to somewhat different questions. After finishing the calculations, we'll start the 8th unit, right? Hari. Shall we then? So if you are asked to find the amount of substance of something, what do you have to calculate? So I taught you the unit used to measure the amount of substance. What is it? What is the unit used to measure the amount of substance? Sasen. Yes, Sasen. Shamod. What is the unit used to measure the amount of substance? Oh, how does the mathakadihen?
Mole.
That is the mole. Right? The amount of substance is measured in moles. Thank you. Sati karapu de ada වෙනකොට අමතක කරලා නම් බෑ. Right. So we'll move on to the third question. And you are given the value of the relative atomic mass of sodium. Right? Find the and to do this, you have to have the memory about the theory parts that you learned last week. හරිද? ඒ ටික මතක නම් පුළුවන් කරන්න. You are given two calculations. videos off කරලා ඉන්න අයටත් එක්ක කියන්නේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ videos on කරලා මේවා ගණන් හදලා තේරුම් නැත්නම් ප්‍රශ්න අහලා මේ වෙලාවෙම පුළුවන් කරගන්න ඕනේ. මොකද these are very important. I told you the third unit of grade 10. Okay, Sasen, I will explain. Third unit of grade 10, then the 7th unit of grade 10 and third unit of grade 11. These three lessons are combined in making questions, right? And also in grade 10, we are going to learn about how to balance chemical equations, how to write the balanced chemical equations. Then that lesson is also combined. ඔක්කොම combine කරලා ගණන් එන්නේ. ඒ නිසා this knowledge is very important. ප්‍රශ්නයක් අහලා තියෙනවා how to how the power changes to 25 from 24. හරි. දැන් ඒක නිකන් වැලියු එකක් අරන් කියන්න. දැන් හිතන්න අපිට මෙන්න මෙහෙම වැලියු එකක් ආවා කියලා. You have got a value නිකන් ලියන්න 63.198 into 10 to the power 24 කියලා. Right? You have got a value like this. Now in the standard form, you have to write it as 6.3198 into 10 to the power. කීයද කියලා තමයි දැන් ලියන්න ඕනේ. Right? හරි. For that, then හිතන්න when I am writing it in the standard form, I can't change the value of this number. මේකේ value එක මට වෙනස් කරන්න බෑ. I can change the way that I express it. Right? I can only change the way that I express it. I can't change the value. Therefore, may balani, if I write it like this, I am going to rewrite this value as 6.3198. එතකොට මම වෙනස් කරලා නේද 63.198 කියන එක මම 6.3198 කියලා ලියලා. I can't do it. Therefore, in order to not to make any error, I can write it like this 6.3198 into 10. Then I will get the same value once again. මම මෙන්න මේ value එක වෙනස් කරලා ලිව්වා multiplied by 10 and already there was 10 to the power 24. හරිද? එහෙනම් මොකද වෙලා තියෙන්නේ? When I write it as 6.3198, here 10 to the power 1 and 10 to the power 24. So, in mathematics, you have learned that we have to get the sum of these two values. Then, I can write this as 6.3198 into 10 to the power 25 කියලා. එහෙම තමයි 24, 25 උනේ. Did you get that now? I changed it into the standard way. Did you get that now? වෙනසක් නොවෙන්න මම මේ 63.198 කියන එක ලිව්වා 6.3198 into 10 කියලා. හරිද? එතකොට the same value and once again this was already there 10 to the power 24. ඒකත් ලියාගත්තා. ඊට පස්සේ මේ දෙන්න එකතු වෙනවා. But I can write it as 6.3198 into 10 to the power 25. Hope it's okay now. කාට හරි ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවා නම් අහන්න. මේක තාම තේරුන්නේ නැත්නම් තාම තේරුන්නේ නැහැ කියලා කියන්නේ. කී සැරයක් හරි අහගෙන අපි හදා ගන්න ඕනේ. ඔයාට තේරුන්නේ නැත්නම් එච්චරයි. අනිත් අයට තේරුණාද කියන එක ඔයාට ගැටලුවක් නැහැ නේද? මට තේරුන්නේ නැත්නම් මං කියනවා මට තේරුන්නේ නැහැ කියලා. Then I will explain. අනිත් අයට තේරුණාද නැද්ද කියලා හිත ඉන්න එපා ඔයාලා. Yes, try about the molar concept and how the equation that I gave to calculate the number of moles. අනේ ඔළුවෙත් අත තියාගෙන සමහර අය ඔළුවේ අත පාලා දාන්න. එච්චරට අමාරුද? අනේ අපොයි කියලා ඔළුවෙත් අත තියාගෙන. මාරු නෑ පුළුවන් හරි ලේසි concepts ටික හිතට ගන්න ඒ ටික එක එක පැත්තට දාලා ගණන් හදන්න තියෙන්නේ. Yes, Chamod, finished. Omika, ඉවරද?
Yes, teacher.
Omika finished. Omika එවන්න බලන answers. Who else have finished? For the third one, Omika has sent answer. Hari, that's correct, Omika. Then do the fourth one as well. Okay, Pahani, correct for the third one. Venuka done. Rushali. Hari, බලමුද? බලන්න තව answers ටිකක් ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා. Yenuli, for the third one, put check it once again. Third one answer. Yes, Venuka, correct. Tihen, correct. He has sent the answers for both. Hari, let's do it now. Then, Matakada, when we take the relative atomic mass in grams, that is known as the molar mass, right? When we take the relative atomic mass or the relative molecular mass in grams, it contained 1 mole. Can you remember that? You learned like that. Relative atomic mass taken in grams, 1 mole of atoms. Relative molecular mass taken in grams, 1 mole of molecules. That's what we learned last week, right? Henang, relative atomic mass of sodium is 23. Henang, if we take the molar mass of sodium, molar mass of sodium, molar mass of sodium, in other words, we can say mass of 1 mole of sodium, right? Within brackets, I will say mass of 1 mole of sodium, right? That is equal to 23. The relative atomic mass taken in grams, molar mass, grams per mole. The unit of molar mass is grams per mole. Then can you remember, we wrote an equation, the number of moles equals mass divided by the molar mass. Mass divided by the molar mass. So you are asked, find the number of moles in 115 grams of sodium. So the mass is 115 grams. The molar mass is 23 grams per mole. 23 grams per mole. Yes. So here grams. 23 into 5 is 115 per mole. When it goes to the top, it becomes moles. 5 moles. එතකොට මෙතන concepts දෙකක් තිබුණා. Relative atomic mass taken in grams, that is equal to 1 mole, or that is known as the molar mass, right? Then the equation, the second concept, the number of moles equals mass divided by the molar mass. On the concepts දෙකයි එතන. හරිනේ? දැන් ගොඩ දෙනෙක් කියුවා answer එක 5 moles කියලා. Then find the number of molecules in එක හරිද? Have you all finished the fourth one? Oh, ne? Find the number of molecules in 0.2 moles of ammonia. If it is ammonia or anything else, we know that 1 mole contains Avogadro constant of molecules. Number of molecules in 1 mole. Like ammonia, the water, the CO2, the SO2, the whatever. Number of molecules in 1 mole. That is equal to the Avogadro constant 6.022 into 10 to the power 23. Right? That is the number of molecules in 1 mole. Here it says 0.2 moles. And now we'll write number of molecules in 0.2 moles. So you can write it like this. In 1 mole, this much of molecules are there. Therefore, what about 0.2 mole? Mole. Therefore, 6.022 into 10 to the power 23 Avogadro constant multiplied by 0.2. එතකොට can multiply and how many decimals? 1, 2, 3, 4 decimals. And now 1.2044 into 10 to the power 23. 1.2044 into 10 to the power 23. Hands up those who got both correct. Okay. Amika, Sanuti, Dihen, Inuli, Imsara, Venuka, Tenuji, Anushi, Manushika, Pavani, Tavinsa. Okay, good. Hari. So still, if you have any problem, just let me know, right? You can personally send a message to the chat. I will explain without mentioning your name if you don't like. Hari. Then I will give you the 5th question. ඉවරද දෙක මං ඊළඟ page එකකට යන්නද?
Okay, teacher.
Right. Relative atomic mass of nitrogen is given as 14. Relative atomic mass of nitrogen is given as 14. Nitrogen exists as a diatomic gas. Yes, done. Yes, Sasen, turn on the video. Pavani, Hiruja, Tisas. Mahani ගිය සතියේ හිටියේ නෑ නේද?
No, teacher.
Did you watch the recording?
Yes, teacher.
Right. We couldn't do the paper class this last week, right? Once again because of the bad weather. All the messages are conveyed in the groups, right? Now, in the month of May, there are 4 Thursdays, but the last Thursday is a holiday. I think there are no Muslim students in this class. In the grade 10 class, I don't have any Muslim students. Am I correct? Oh, ned. So, මතක විදිහට නෑ මෙතනත් නෑනේ කවුරුත් because the last Thursday is the Hajj festival. එතකොට ඒගොල්ලෝනේ ඒක celebrate කරන්නේ. අපි කවුරුත් නැති හින්දා grade 10 class එකේ we can have the class on that day. Hari Venuka has sent an answer. The hen had sent both answers for the fifth and sixth ones. Yes. Venuka, in the fifth one, it asks about, yes, Venuka has sent the number of molecules. Dihen balana whether you have found the number of moles or the number of molecules. If you have found the number of moles, you have to convert it into the number of molecules. Sasenut balana, you are asked about the number of molecules. First you have to find the number of moles, then convert it into molecules. N2 is the molecule, CO2 is the molecule. ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ ටියුට්ස් ඊළඟට ඔක්කොම messages groups වල තියෙනවා ඒවා බලන්න පොඩ්ඩක් how to be updated. Okay Venuka. හරි දැන් බලමුද have you all made an attempt to solve them? Pranushi, Inuli, Krushali, have you finished? No, not yet. Okay, Sanuti. If you find it a bit difficult, the only reason is that you can't remember the theory that we had discussed last week. ඔගොල්ලෝ ඒක මතක් කරගෙන ආවේ නැත්නම් ටිකක් අමාරුයි. ඒක අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම මේ සතියේ කරන දේ ඊළඟ සතියේ එන්න කලින් හොඳට බලාගෙන එන්න ඕනේ. හරි. We'll discuss. Find the number of nitrogen molecules. මේ බලන්න N2 nitrogen exists as a diatomic gas. N2 විදිහට තමයි ඉන්නේ nitrogen. in 560 grams of N2. So you are given the relative atomic mass. Nitrogen N equals 14. Right? And we have to find the relative molecular mass of N2. Relative molecular mass. Relative molecular mass of N2. ඔගොල්ලෝ පුරුවන් වුණාට පස්සේ මේ ඔක්කොම ස්ටෙප්ස් ලියන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. පුරුදු වෙනකන් තමයි මම මේ ලියන්නේ. Relative molecular mass of N2. Nitrogen equals 14. N2 means 2 into 14. That is 28. Then the second concept. When relative molecular mass is taken in grams, that is equal to molar mass. Now මම ලියනවා molar mass of N2. Molar mass of nitrogen. That is equal to relative molecular mass taken in grams. 28 grams per mole. 28 grams per mole. Right? Hari. We can substitute for the equation the number of moles. Number of moles equals mass divided by molar mass. So we are going to find out the number of N2 moles. Hari. The mass equals 560 grams. The molar mass we have found out 28 grams per mole. 28 grams per mole. Right. Then grams. 28 into 2. And 20 moles. There are 20 moles of nitrogen. But we are asked about the number of molecules. And we can say number of nitrogen molecules in 20 moles. හරිද? Stepwise අපි ආවේ. Relative molecular mass taken in grams, molar mass. Then we found out the number of moles. Then we know in 1 mole, Avogadro constant of molecules are there. එහෙනම් in 20 moles, number of nitrogen molecules in 20 moles of N2. කොට මම දන්නවා in 1 mole 6.022 into 10 to the power 23 number of molecules are there. Therefore, what about 20 moles? Right? Mole. Then Avogadro constant multiplied by 20. Right? මම ලියනවා 12.044 into 10 to the power මෙතන 23 මෙතන 10 to the power 1 මම එක සැරෙන් ලියන්න නැතුව මෙහෙම ලියන්නම් 12.044 into 10 to the power 23 මෙතන තව එක 10 එකක් තියෙනවානේ එතකොට 24 කියලා ආවා. Right? Then I can rewrite this as කොහමද ලියන්නේ 1.2044 into 10 to the power 24. Therefore, it is altogether 10 to the power 25. 1.2044 into 10 to the power 25. Right? So, බලන්න ආපු අය 1.2044 into 10 to the power 25. Only 10 of you have got. Then හරිද? බලන්න පැහැදිලි නැත්නම් කියන්න මට. I will explain. දැන් මෙතන ඔයගොල්ලන්ට වැරදුනා නම් වරදින්න නැත්නම් N2 නැතුව N ගත්තා නම්. නේද? එහෙම අරගෙන වැරදුනා අයත් ඇති. Remember, here relative atomic mass is given for nitrogen N. We are asked about N2 molecule. Right? Therefore, we have to find the relative molecular mass. හරි. ඊළඟ එකට පොඩි effort එකක් දෙමුද ඉවරද?
Teacher,
Yes.
teacher, how can we get 25?
හරි. මම එක ආයිත් ලියන්නම්කෝ. මේ question එක පහලට ගමු අපි. In 22 grams of carbon dioxide. අපි රෙස් කරන්න. හරි. දැන් මෙහෙමනේ. On a 6.022 into 10 to the power 23 into 20. So I will multiply 6.022 into 20. I will write it as 2 into 10 into 10 to the power 23. මේ ආව ආපහු එමම ලිව්වා. 20 I wrote as 2 into 10. එතකොට මෙතන all together තියෙනවා 10 to the power 24. Right? 10 to the power 24. Here the value is 6.022 into 2 කියන්නේ 12.044 into 10 to the power 24. හරි නේද? ඊට පස්සේ in order to write it in the standard way, I have to write it as 1.2044. එහෙම ලියන්න බෑනේ මම මෙතන තියෙන value එක වෙනස් කරලානේ. ඒ නිසා I have to convert it into the previous value. දැන් මම මේක මෙහෙම ලිව්වහම හරි නේද? 1.2044 into 10. It is 12.044 ම තමයි. Right? මෙතන තව තිබුණා 10 to the power 24. හරිද? එතකොට මෙතන 10 into 10 to the power 24. That is 10 to the power 25. හරිනේ? Into 1.2044 into 10 to the power 25. දැන් හරිද මානුෂිකා?
Yes, teacher. Okay. Thank you, teacher.
Okay. That is the way. ඔය ටික ඔය steps 4ක් ලියන්න නැතුව මම ගත්තේ ඔයගලන්ට එක සැරේ එහෙම ගන්න අමාරු නම් you can write the steps, it's okay. ඊළඟ එකට මෙතන ඊට මදි වගේ නිසා I will move on to the next page. හරිද? Shall I move on to the next page to do question number 6?
She is still writing.
Okay. යන්න ඊළඟ එකටත් answers ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා. Okay, Chamod. Okay, Sasen will check. Find the amount of carbon dioxide in 22 grams of carbon dioxide. හරි බලමු මෙතන ඉඩ ඇති වෙයිද කියලා. එතකොට carbon dioxide, we can find the relative molecular mass of carbon dioxide. Right, relative molecular mass of carbon dioxide. Carbon is 12, oxygen is 16, and there are 2 oxygen atoms. Therefore, 16 into 2, 32 plus 12, that is 44. Right, 44 is the relative molecular mass of carbon dioxide. And we can say the molar mass of carbon dioxide. Molar mass of carbon dioxide. So relative molecular mass taken in grams, that is 44 grams per mole. 44 grams per mole. Right? Hari. So find the amount of carbon dioxide. So the amount of substance is the number of moles. Now you can write the equation. N equals M over M. Mass is given as 22 grams. The molar mass is 44 grams per mole. 44 grams per mole. Since we are asked about the amount of carbon dioxide, we can calculate the number of moles. Because mole is the SI unit of measuring the amount of substance. එතකොට එතන half නේද 22 into 2 is 44. Now half කියලා කියන්නේ 0.5 per mole comes to the top and it becomes 0.5 moles. Hands up those who got it. 0.5 moles. Good. හරි. එතන 14, 15. හරි. ඉස්සෙල්ලා වැරදිලා දැන් හරි කියන පොඩි හිනාවකුත් තියෙනවා නේ. Right, good. Okay. ඊළඟ එක දෙන්නම් පුංචි break එකක් ඕනේද? Do you want a little break? හවුද? මනදි ගිහිල්ලා දැන් සමහර අය බොහොම අමාරුවෙන් ඔළුවටත් අත තියාගෙන ඉන්න නිසා අපි දෙමු පුංචි break එකක් ගිහිල්ලා drink some water and come back quickly. Just refresh yourselves and come back.
අතේ ඇති
Hari. Hope you all have come back after the break. Avane?
You've spent nights
Last week also I gave you a lesson about studying how to concentrate. Hope you all have returned, right? I will play the video.
You've spent nights reviewing for an exam, felt confident, but the moment you sat down, your mind went blank. Or maybe you listened to a brilliant lecture, thought you understood everything, and days later, it was all gone. You're not dumb, and your memory isn't broken. The problem isn't effort, it's the method. We were all taught what to study, but no one ever taught us how the brain actually remembers. We assume effort equals retention, but your brain doesn't reward effort, it rewards design. The real difference between top students and everyone else isn't intelligence. It's that they've learned how to make their brain want to remember. Memory isn't a test of willpower, it's an art of structure. Once you understand how it works, you'll realize anyone can build long-term memory not by studying harder, but by studying smarter. So in this video, we'll explore 5 powerful, science-backed methods to strengthen your memory and transform how you think. Think back to remember. Most people study by rereading notes or memorizing key points. It feels productive, but it's an illusion. Psychologists call this the illusion of fluency. You think you understand something just because it feels familiar. But your brain doesn't remember what you see, it remembers what you recall. Memory works like a muscle. It grows through use, not storage. That's why real learning comes from output, not input. That's the power of active recall. When you force your brain to retrieve an idea, you strengthen that neural pathway and make it harder to forget. After reading, close the book and ask, can I explain this in my own words? Or try the Feynman technique, teach what you learned as if to a friend. Wherever you stumble, that's your gap. Review, then recall again. Studies show testing yourself 3 times beats rereading 10. Recall doesn't just test memory, it creates it. So don't ask, do I get it? Ask, can I explain it without looking? That's when learning becomes real. Learn in rhythm, not rush. Time is the most underestimated tool for memory. We think repetition equals learning, but the brain actually resists back-to-back input. When you cram in one sitting, your brain treats it as temporary, stored briefly, then erased. But when you review right before forgetting, the brain reopens that pathway, strengthens it, and makes the memory last. That's the spacing effect. Psychologist Hermann Ebbinghaus showed that within 24 hours, we forget half of what we learn. Each well-timed recall resets that curve, making memory more durable. Top students use this rhythm consciously. They don't cram, they schedule, day 1 learn, day 3 review, day 7 recall, day 14 reinforce.
This is the same thing that I was telling you since grade 6, right? So I'm showing you videos, we are explaining the things, I am writing on the board, you are listening, you are taking down the notes. So within 24 hours, you have to revise it. අද කරපු දේ අදම බලන්න අදර වැඩි නම් at least by tomorrow morning before you go to school, I have asked you to revise. Then only it will go into your long-term memory. Then before you join next week, once again you have to revise not only the things that you learned last week, but the things that you have learned so far. මේක අර කෑ ගහ කලින් දවසේ ටර්ම් ටෙස්ට් එකට කලින් දවසේ කෑ ගහලා හයියෙන් කියවලා නැත්නම් කකුල් දෙක වතුර බේසමක දාගෙන එහෙම කළාට හරි මෙමරි එකට යන්නේ නැහැ. Right, that is the way. දැන් මම grade 11 ලං වෙනකොට ඒගොල්ලන්ට කියනවා they have to take MCQs and just analyze the MCQs කියලා. එතකොට අපි in the paper class I am always telling you when we discuss the questions, mama order එකකට නෙමෙයි questions discuss කරන්නේ. First lesson එකෙන් ප්‍රශ්න දෙනවා, ඒ ටික ඉවර කරනවා, ඊළඟ second lesson එකට යනවා, එහෙම නෙවෙයි. If you have done 7 units, I will give questions from all 7 units in a mixed manner. එතකොට මොකද වෙන්නේ? When we are doing like that, if you find something that you have forgotten, at the end of the class, you have to take down, you have to take that particular note and revise. On then, හිතන්න cell division, you have forgotten that part. ඔයාට උත්තර ලියනකොට හිතේරුණා මට cell division අමතක වෙලා කියලා. You note it down on a sheet of paper. Then at the end of the class, you have to take the note of cell division and revise it. අන්න ඒක තමයි method එක. ඒක තමයි මම හැමදාම කියන්නේ ඔයාලට. Right, even in the paper class.
Each interval tells the brain, this matters, keep it. Over time, that rhythm turns short-term learning into long-term memory. Use tools like Anki, Notion, or even a handwritten planner to automate your memory rhythm. Learning then becomes like breathing. Inhale knowledge, exhale review, and let time make it stronger. See it to remember it. If I gave you a list of numbers, you'd forget them in minutes. But if I told you a story, you'd remember it for years. Because your brain doesn't think in words, it thinks in images. Psychologist Alan Pavio called this the dual coding theory, the idea that information encoded both in language and visuals is remembered far more effectively. When you combine words with images, you double the brain's pathways for recall. So instead of copying endless notes, start visualizing what you learn. Draw concept maps. Use arrows to show cause and effect. Highlight relationships with color. Turn abstract ideas into simple shapes or sketches. When you do this, you're not just reading, you're seeing. If you're learning history, don't memorize dates, map the sequence of events. If you're studying physics, sketch how energy moves and transforms. Visual learning turns information into a landscape. And when knowledge becomes a map, you always know where to find it. Memory thrives on structure. Images give it shape. And shape turns learning into story. Feel it to keep it. Memory isn't cold data, it's alive with feeling. You can easily recall an embarrassing moment, a thrilling success, or a time when someone encouraged you, but you probably can't recall the report you read 3 days ago. Why? Because emotion burns memory into the mind. In the brain, the hippocampus handles memory and the amygdala handles emotion. When they activate together, memories become significantly stronger. That's why top students engineer emotional states. They don't just study, they design the environment of learning. Some always study at the same time, training their brain that it's focus hour. Some play the same playlist to create rhythm and familiarity. Others use scent, lighting, or ritual to trigger the memory state instantly. This is called state-dependent learning. The idea that what you learn in one emotional or physical state is recalled more easily in a similar one later. So, before
That is why you are asked to make a learning environment. සමහර අය පොත අරගෙන ඇඳට යනවා නේද? නැත්තම් සෝෆා එකට ගිහිල්ලා ඇල වෙලා ටිකක් වෙලා ඉඳගෙන ඉන්නවා. ඊට පස්සේ ඔයාටම කියනවා දැන් නම් ඇල වුණොත් හොඳයි කියලා නේද? ඊට පස්සේ එහෙමම ඇල තමයි නේ. ඒ නිසා මොකක්ද වෙන්න ඕනේ? එහෙම ඒ positions වලට යන්න එපා. When you sit in front of the table, then the brain gets the message, now it is the learning time. When you go to the bed, the brain gives the message, now it's time to sleep, not to study. හරිද? ඒ නිසා you have to make a learning environment and keep the same position always. Then the brain will get the message, then when you are sitting like that, that it is the time to study. මේක මේ O level වලින් පටන් අරගෙන ඔයාලගේ higher studies වලට යනකම්ම these are applicable, right?
changing your techniques, change your state, make learning feel alive. Curiosity, calmness, focus. Emotion gives knowledge a heart because what the brain feels, it remembers. Design your memory. Finally, the most overlooked secret of all. Memory isn't built from random facts. It's built from structure. Most people gather information like puzzle pieces without seeing the full picture. Top students, however, build maps. Before learning, they ask, how does this connect to what I already know? They create a framework first, then fill it in. This is structured input, learning through relationships. Here's how. Before studying, define the why, how, and what. During study, use active recall. Afterward, reinforce with spaced review and visuals. Each step builds on the next, turning knowledge into a connected network. If you're preparing for an exam, don't reread aimlessly. Build a knowledge map. List key questions and link ideas with color and shape. Your brain encodes through structure. The clearer the framework, the stronger the recall. The real enemy of memory isn't difficulty, it's disorder. Structure brings clarity, and clarity makes learning effortless. Build your own system, and you become an architect of knowledge. Top performers don't work harder, they design smarter. Memory doesn't belong to the gifted, it belongs to the organized. The 5 methods you've learned: active recall, spaced repetition, visual connection, emotional state, and structured input form a complete cycle. When learning follows rhythm, memory stops fading. It stabilizes, it becomes who you are. So stop memorizing, start designing. Design your time, design your rhythm, design your environment. Because once your system is strong, your memory becomes unstoppable. Remember this: you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Build the system, and your memory will build you.
Okay. So follow these methods. Actually, you will find it very easy to continue your studies, and you will not become bored, as well as you will not be very tired at the end of the day, right? So you have to make the system. Okay, we'll move on to question number 7. All right, turn on your videos and do the work. Yes, shall we? Answers ආවේ නැහැ තාම එකක්වත්. හරි බලමු. Find the number of sulfur atoms in 32 grams of sulfur dioxide. Yes, sulfur dioxide. So you can find the relative molecular mass. And the sulfur is 32, oxygen is 16. 16 into 2. Ned. So 32 plus 32, that is altogether 64. 64 is the relative molecular mass of sulfur dioxide. Right? Harry. We are asked to find the number of sulfur atoms. First of all, we have to find out the number of sulfur moles. Right? We'll write the equation. Number of moles equals mass divided by the molar mass. So the mass of sulfur dioxide given is 32 grams. 32 grams divided by the molar mass is relative molecular mass taken in grams. That is 64 grams per mole. 64 grams per mole. Hari, grams. Here 32 into 2. Half කියලා කියන්නේ. Here 0.5 moles of sulfur dioxide is there. Right? So the number of sulfur atoms. Now I can say number of sulfur atoms in one SO2 molecule. Okay, SO2 molecule එකක sulfur කී දෙනෙක් ඉන්නවද? SO2. Therefore, there is only one, one sulfur atom. That is equal to 1. Then here we have 0.5 moles. And we can find the number of sulfur dioxide molecules. Number of sulfur dioxide molecules in 0.5 moles. Right? In 1 mole, Avogadro constant of 6.022 into 10 to the power 23 number of මේක පොඩියට ලියන්නද මෙතන? Hi. 6.0 in 1 mole, Avogadro constant of molecules are there. Therefore, in 0.5 moles. In 0.5 moles. එතකොට 0. Multiplied by 0.5 කියලා කියන්නේ divided by 2 කියන එකනේ. So it is 3.011 into 10 to the power 23. This much of molecules are there. In one molecule, we find one sulfur atom. And we can say number of sulfur atoms in 3.011 into 23 number of molecules. Clear? එකම තමයිනේ answer එක 3.011 into 10 to the power 23. Our answer එක hands up those who got the answer 3.011 into 10 to the power 23. 10. Sala 10 වලින් එහාට ගියානේ. 11. Anita හරිද දැන්? Then the next question is also a similar one. Find the number of hydrogen atoms in 90 grams of water. තනියෙන් හදන්න බලන්න. දැන් කලින් එක වැරදුනා නම්. So there you have to follow the flow. Flow එක කටපාඩම් කරන්න ඕනේ නැද්ද? Get the concept. When you are given a mass, you have to convert it into the number of moles. Moles into molecules. Then molecules into atoms. Mass into moles, moles into molecules, molecules into atoms. හරිද? හරි. ඔන්න H2O no. H2O. So the molar mass, we have to calculate the relative molecular mass first. So here it is hydrogen equals 1. Therefore 2 into 1 plus oxygen is 16. So it is altogether 18. Right? So we have to find the number of moles of water in 90 grams. Right? 90 grams. Relative molecular mass is 18. We have to take it in grams. That is the molar mass. 18 grams per mole. Right? Grams, grams. 90 divided by 18, that is 5. There. 5 moles of water is there. Find the number of hydrogen atoms. And a number of hydrogen atoms in one molecule is 2, H2O. So 5 moles. And we'll say number of number of H2O molecules in 5 moles, right? So in 1 mole, we have Avogadro constant of molecules. Therefore, in 5 moles, how many molecules are there? එතකොට Avogadro constant multiplied by 5. එතකොට කීයද? 30.110 නේද? 30.110 into 10 to the power 23 3. අන්න මම එන විදිහටම ලියන්නම්ක නැත්තම් සමහර අයට ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෑ ඒ කොහොමද මම මේ 10 to the power value එක වෙනස් කරන්නේ කියලා. අන්න I got 30.110 into 10 to the power 23. හරි දැන් මේක නෙමෙයිනේ final answer එක. මෙහෙම තියන්න. It was the number of molecules. එහෙනම් number of එක සැරේම ලියනවා hydrogen atoms. Number of hydrogen atoms in 30.011 30.110 30.110 into 10 to the power 23 number of molecules. H2O molecules. ඒකනේ අහන්නේ. එතකොට මට කියන්න පුළුවන් in one molecule there are 2 hydrogen atoms. In one H2O molecule there are 2 hydrogen atoms. So we have found out there are 30.11 into 10 to the power 23. This is multiplied by 2 once again. Then I will get 60.22 into 10 to the power 23. I can rewrite it 6.022 into 10 to the power 24. 6.022 into 10 to the power 24 number of hydrogen atoms are there. Harida, hands up those who got the answer. 6.022 into 10 to the power 24. And now 14. Now, කොමලගේ අත්තිස්සනකම් 15. එකක් වැඩි වෙලා. 16. Good. 17. මොකද පරක්කු වෙන්න අත උස්සන්න. 17 have got the answer. Good. හරි. තව කීයක් හදමුද අපි? This is number 8. 9, 10. මහන්සි නෑ නේද? You have to practice until you succeed. තව ඉස්සෙල්ලාම තව එකක් දෙන්නම් ඊට පස්සේ තව දෙකක් විතර හදමු. දැන් වැරදුනා නම් පුතේ මේ ටේක් මොකද්ද කරන්න ඕනේ? question එක පේන්න තියාගෙන answer එක cover කරගන්න. take a rough sheet of paper. දැන් ඒප්‍රිල් month එක ඉවර වෙලා ඉඳලා ඒ කැලෙන්ඩර් කොලේ ගලවලා අනිත් පැත්තේ හදන්න පුළුවන්. හරිද? හරියනකම හදන්න. Right. තාම ලියන අය ඉන්නවද?
Yes.
Okay, Tisa. අතෑරලා දාන්න එපා. වැරදුනා නම් හරියනකම්ම ආයි හදන්න concepts මතක් කර කර හදන්න. Number of moles, then the number of molecules, then the number of atoms likewise. You can continue. Yes, this has finished.
No.
දැන් මම ටිකක් වෙනස් විදිහේ ප්‍රශ්න ඉස්සෙල්ලා මේ විදිහේ එකක් දීලා ඊළඟට ටිකක් වෙනස් එකක් දෙන්නම්. Done?
Yes, teacher.
8. And a glucose. What is the formula of glucose?
E6H12O6.
That is C6H12O6. Yes. මම උදව්වක් කළා. Yes, finished. Okay. I have received certain answers. When you are sending the answer, you'd better to put the question number and send me. Sasen pute aisara balana chutta. How many atoms කියලා යහන්නේ? හරි. අන්න දැන් answers ගොඩක් ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා. We'll check. Hari. So, number of carbon atoms in 36 grams of glucose, right? So, we have to find the relative molecular mass of glucose first. So, C6 can 12 into 6, right? Plus H12, 1 into 12, plus O6, 16 into 6. So, here it is 72 plus 12. Then 16 into 6, 96. 96 plus 12 can 108. Plus 72, 180. The relative molecular mass of glucose is 180. Then number of atoms. Before we move on to atoms, we have to find the number of moles. Therefore, I substitute for the equation number of moles equals mass divided by the molar mass. Right, mass divided by the molar mass. Now, number of moles equals, the mass is given as 36 grams. The molar mass is relative molecular mass taken in grams. 180 grams per mole. 180 grams per mole. So, grams. 36 into 5, right? 1 over 5. 1 over 5 can 0. Here 0.2 moles. Right, 0.2 moles of glucose there, right? So we have to find the number of glucose molecules. Number of glucose molecules in 0.2 moles. Right? How many molecules are there? So in 1 mole, we find Avogadro constant of molecules, right? And in 0.2 moles, how many molecules are there? In 0.2 moles, how many molecules are there? We will get how many decimals? 3 plus 1, 4 decimals. So it becomes 1.2044 into 10 to the power 23. This number of molecules are there, glucose molecules are there. But we are asked to find out the number of carbon atoms. Number of carbon atoms. And number of carbon atoms in one glucose molecule. Here, in one glucose molecule, how many carbon atoms are there? That is 6.
6.
Yes.
6.
And number of carbon atoms. Number of carbon atoms in 1.2044 into 10 to the power 23 number of molecules. Eka tamai hoyanna oni. Because this much of molecules are there in 36 grams. Now මොකද කරන්න ඕනේ? Yes, number of carbon atoms. In one molecule we find 6 carbon atoms. In one molecule we find 6 carbon atoms. Therefore, how many carbon atoms are there in 1.2044 into 10 to the power 23 number of molecules? One molecule 6 atoms. This much of molecules, how many carbon atoms are there? So it is it becomes 7.2264 into 10 to the power 23. 7.2264 into 10 to the power 23. Hands up those who got the answer. Hmm. 14 once again. හරි. සයුල් වැරදුනද පුතේ? හරිනේ. Okay. 15. Right. And next one, I will give you something different, not difficult, a different one. Different means now always we were given the mass and we were asked to calculate the number of moles or molecules or atoms. So we'll do one in the other way around. Hari, have you all finished writing? Shall I move on? හරිනේ? ඊළඟ page එකට ගියා. දැන් කාට හරි ගිය සතියේ මිස් වෙච්ච අය ඉන්නවා නම් I have shared the recording in the group. වෙලාව අරගෙන ඒක බලන්න. ඉස්සරහ ගිය සතියේ theory ටික බලලා මේ සතියේ ගණන් ටිකත් ආයිත් හදන්න. පුළුවන් වෙනකම් කරන්න ඕනේ. You have to make a bit effort until you succeed. Sulfuric acid. Relative atomic masses are given. Yes. Lesson finished. Hari, Balamu. Find the mass of 3 moles of H2SO4. So, first you have to find the relative molecular mass of sulfuric acid. So, it is 1 into 2 plus sulfur is 32. Since there are 4 oxygen atoms, you have to multiply 16 by 4. So, 2 plus 32 plus 64. 64 plus 32, 96 plus 2, that is 98. Relative molecular mass of sulfuric is 98. ඊට පස්සේ on we are going to substitute for the equation N equals M over M. Here the number of moles is given, right? That is 3 moles. So we are asked to find the mass. Now I can rewrite the equation mass equals number of moles into the molar mass. Number of moles 3 moles. Molar mass is relative molecular mass taken in grams. 98 grams per mole. 98 grams per mole. Right? Mole per mole. එතකොට 3 into 98. 294 grams. Got it? Avada? Yes? Right. Then find the mass of 1.5 moles of ammonia, NH3. So nitrogen is 14 plus hydrogen is 1, 1 into 3. That is 17. Relative molecular mass of ammonia is 17. So you substitute for the equation N equals M over M. Mass equals number of moles into molar mass. So the number of moles is 1.5. The molar mass is relative molecular mass taken in grams. 17 grams per mole. Right? So is per mole, mole 17 into 1.5. 17 into 15. 25.5 grams. 25.5 grams. Got the answer? Yes? Hari. තව එකක් දෙන්න. The last one. දැන් පුළුවන් නේද? Hari. The last question. Nuji, are you tired? Huh? Manushika? ඇස් දෙකත් පේන්නේ නැහැ වගේ ඇස්සුත් ලොකු කරලා බලන් ඉන්නවා. හරි හරි. ඔතනින් එහාට දෙන්න. Then you can practice this at home. This is the last question. හරි. බලමුද? Yes, Yanuli. Finished. Now, Chamond.
No, miss.
Amika inna neda Hiruja?
Yes, teacher.
Hari, balamu. Yes, I have received a number of answers. Find the mass of 2.5 moles of methane. That is CH4, right? Carbon is 12, hydrogen is 1. There are 4 hydrogen atoms. So that is altogether 16, right? Find the mass of 2.5 moles of methane. Hari. Now I will substitute for the equation. So the mass equals number of moles into molar mass. Number of moles 2.5 moles. The molar mass is 16 grams per mole. 16 grams per mole. එතකොට 16 into 2 is 32. Half is 8. 32 plus 8, 40. Ne? 40. 40 grams is the mass. Did you get? දැන් නම් එන්න ඕනේ ඔක්කොමත් ඉස්සෙන්න ඕනේ දැන්. Yes. හරි. Then how many hydrogen atoms are there? Yes. So number of hydrogen atoms in one CH4 molecule. One CH4 molecule is 4. The number of hydrogen atoms. Now there are 2.5 moles. And we'll say number of molecules. Number of molecules in 2.5 moles of CH4. In 1 mole, Avogadro constant. In 2.5 moles. In 1 mole, Avogadro number of molecules in 2.5 moles. Again, 6.022 into 2.5 into 10 to the power 23. Right? And number of molecules number of hydrogen atoms in 2.5 moles of CH4. In 1 molecule, there are 4 hydrogen atoms. 1 molecule, there are 4 hydrogen atoms. Therefore, how many atoms are there in this much of molecules? 2.5. No, my answer. 4 into 2.5 is here, 10. Let's see my answer again now. 4 into 2.5 is 10. So, 6.022 into 10 to the power 23 into 10. Again, 6.022 into 10 to the power 24. Hands up those who got the answer. Hari, then hondai. Okay, good. Okay, we have another 20 minutes left. මං ඒ විනාඩි 20 දැන් අලුත් lesson එක පටන් ගන්න යන්නේ නෑ. You can revise these. හරිද? දැන් අද ගොඩක් you worked a lot, right? දැන් ටික මහන්සි ඇතිනේ. You have used your brain a lot. එතකොට ගිය සතියේත් about 15 minutes we lost because of the power failure. අදත් එතකොට තව විනාඩි 20ක් විතර තියෙනවා. අර 28th of May නේද? Yes. අනේ ඒ දවසේ මම ඔයගොල්ලන්ට හවස paper class එක තියෙනවා. ඒ දාම උදේ අපි session එකක් දාගමු නේද? Since මට මතක විදියට නම් no any Muslim students in this class. ඒව නම් ඉන්නවා මේකේ මට මතක විදියට නෑ. ඒ නිසා no issue නේද? It is a Thursday. So it is a public and not a mercantile but a public holiday. So we can have a session. මම ඒකත් group එකට දාන්නම් the dates that we are going to have in the month of May. right? Now, bit collectively session එකක් හවස එක වෙනුවට morning session එකක් දාන්නත් පුළුවන් දෙකම combine කරලා. So we'll start the 8th unit. We'll start නෙමෙයි, we can finish the 8th unit next week. අපි බලමු within 2.5 hours most probably we will be able to finish. Right? It is a biology lesson. You have to write certain things. I have shared the tute in the group. Okay? එහෙනම් මේ ටික ඔන්න හොඳට practice කරන්න ඕගොල්ලෝ. හරියනකම්ම හදන්න. හරිද? අතහැරලා දාන්න එපා. ඔයගොල්ලෝ පුළුවන් වෙනකොට you are also happy. හරිද? That happiness will also become a motivation to continue. And remember, you have to, if you have forgotten how to write the chemical formula, you have to revise the 3rd unit. Right? ඊට පස්සේ මේක කරන්න ඊළඟට in the coming lessons when we learn how to balance the chemical equations, then we have to do the molar calculations there. එතකොට මේ concepts හරි වැදගත්. ඊට පස්සේ in the grade 11 3rd unit we will learn about concentration. ඔන්න ඔය ටික combine කරලා ප්‍රශ්න එනවා. ඉතින් හරි ලේසි. අර concepts කීපයක් විතරයි. What is a mole? When we take the relative atomic mass in grams, or when we take the relative molecular mass in grams, it is equal to 1 mole. 1 mole means Avogadro constant of basic units. ඔන්න ඔය ටික හිතේ තියෙන එක තමයි තියෙන්න ඕනේ. එක එක පැත්තට කරකව ප්‍රශ්න දෙනවා. That's it. හරිද? දැන් එහෙනම් පොඩි break එකක් ගන්න. ඊට පස්සේ අද අමාරු නම් දැන් if you have homework and the other stuff at school, you can do it at least by tomorrow. Right? Practice කරන්න. අපි ඊළඟ සතියේ 8th unit එක කරමු. ඊළඟට 9th unit is once again a physics lesson, right? 9th unit, that is yes, 9th unit is on the resultant force, right? Resultant force එක නම් පොඩි lesson එකක්. හරිම ලේසි. ඒකට පැය දෙකමාරක් යන්නේ නැහැ. On the same day we can start the 10th unit chemical bonds. එහෙම නැත්නම් 8 එකේ ඉතුරු වුණොත් අපිට 8 and 9 we can finish collectively. ඊළඟට 10th lesson it is chemical bonds, a chemistry lesson. Then 11 once again a physics lesson, 11 and 12. Right? For the second term actually we have to finish 14 lessons, right? 14 altogether. Right? The biosphere, biosphere, ඊට පස්සේ reproduction, plant reproduction and human reproduction. Those two things are also included for the second term, right? වැඩ ගොඩාක් තියෙනවා. ඒ නිසා කොට ගහගන්න එපා. ලොකු දේවල් ටිකක් එකතු වෙනවා ඔයගොල්ලන්ට මතක තියාගන්න. දැන් අර මම පාඩම් කරන විදිහත් ඔන්න හැමදාම කියපු දේ මම කියපු දේ වීඩියෝ එකකිනුත් එන්නවා. ඉතින් ඒව follow කරන්න. නැත්නම් ඔයගොල්ලන්ට අර you don't need to be pressurized, right? In a relaxed mind you can continue your studies. Hari. And we will meet again on with the paper class. We are meeting on Thursday, right? And the theory class as usual next Tuesday. And I will arrange a session on the 28th of May, right? For both theory and paper. Okay, then stay safe and good night.
Good night, Miss.
Thank you, teacher. Good night.
Thank you, madam. Good night,
Teacher,
madam.
thank you, teacher.